think we'll get this presentation started. I thank everyone for participating in the blessing of this event. You know, we traditionally like to start with a blessing, making sure that any and all of our events are blessed not only by our community but by our Creator. And so we are here celebrating, you know, local food. We're celebrating the revitalization of TCEDC, putting us back on the map, and the strides that we've made thus far. I thank you guys for your interest, your participation in TCEDC, your support of TCEDC. Most of the faces in here have had something to do with TCEDC, if not for the 33 years of its existence, for the last 15 or so. So I'm very thankful for everyone that is here. I'm very thankful for everyone that you know, is always a part of making these events a success. We want to ensure that people in the community are always informed of what TCEDC is up to, what we're doing, and you know, what our strides have been. You know, we do create quite a buzz in TCEDC. We do, you know, like to keep people in their toes, and we listen to our community. We make sure that listening sessions are happening so that we can make sure of what your needs are so that we can get to work in meeting those needs. This TCEDC adventure is not a one-woman adventure. Everybody thinks TCEDC, everybody thinks Mercedes. There's 12 people part of TCEDC now. When I took over TCEDC almost 5 years ago, it was 2 people left standing. We were left with $100 in our bank account, and we had to run with it and figure out what to do. I'm blessed to have a great board. I'm blessed to have a participating board that is not only at these events, but at many events throughout the community, representing us, speaking for us, and representing us. So I really thank our board. There is probably, I mean, our board chair present here in the room right now, Pascualito Maestas. Darlene Vigil, which is our board secretary, is here as well. We have Trinidad Arguello in the room that is part of our board and has been part of the board. You're probably from our, we're not going to talk about age, Trinidad, don't worry. You know, but she's probably one of the longest standing members that has really been representative of the culture and the needs of the community through our endeavors with TCEDC. She makes sure that we are always in line with what the community needs are. Her personal venture is mental health, so she really steps in and keeps us aligned as well. And so I'm very thankful for all those board members that are here present and always supporting. I think everyone's question, and the thing is the meat processing facility, where are we at and what are we doing? You know, I'd like to take a few more moments to really let you know that TCEDC is not only the meat processing. That is not all we do. That is our current adventure right now. That is our current project. But TCEDC has been in existence for over 35 years. TCEDC has been part of this community and developing infrastructure for this community for over 35 years. When TCEDC was first formed, it was out of need in this community. The Taos Food Center, which is a 5,000 square commercial kitchen, just in this facility, and we're giving a tour. Anyone who wants, you know, to become part of the tour, the mobile Matanza unit is in the presence as we speak. So those of you who want to look at the unit, those of you who want a tour of the facility out by Landfill Road, we're open. We're here. But we're not only meat processing. Okay, we do have a 5,000 square foot Taos kitchen that helps people start their food-based businesses. We take people from the door. We help them with their recipes, help them upscale the recipes, navigate them through the permitting process, help them get their product on the shelves, most of the time in as little as a month. So the navigating of starting a food business in Taos, thanks to TCEDC and the TCEDC staff, is not a big feat. So we welcome you guys, you know, to become more involved on what we are a part of. We're not single-faced. There are many faces to TCEDC. Another thing that TCEDC is a part of is education. So right now we are making sure that while we've got the meat processing process going, that we are educating, you know, that we are holding, you know, workshops so that people learn about soil health. We've got great partners. We've got a collaborative called De la Tierra a la Cosecha. De la Tierra a la Cosecha was originally formed by TCEDC back in the 2000s. You know, that collaborative brings partners to the table to be able to ensure that we're not duplicating services, one. Two, that we're not competing for the same funds, state, federally, and locally. So we ensure, you know, that people are bringing their needs to the table and we can approach, you know, those needs in a joint fashion. De la Tierra a la Cosecha counts with partners like Agricultura de Taos and Jillian Joyce. Will Duremco, our Ag Extension Officer. Judy Torres from Taos Valley Acequias. And now Darian Fernandez. We started with Christina, now it's Darian at the Taos Land Trust. You know, those entities, we sit at the table, what, 2 times a week, 2 times a month, and try and discuss what the need of TCEDC is. Do we need more partners? Absolutely. You know, come onto the table and we see, you know, what the need is so that we can go ahead and extend those services. Our biggest project and our biggest endeavor right now, obviously, is the meat processing facility. You know, meat processing facility, we at TCEDC, I've been with TCEDC for 25 years. You know, so it was inherited on. You know, I was appointed, you know, the executive director going on 5 years now. In those 5 years, you know, one of the things that was identified as having to be revitalized was the Mobile Matanza project. TCEDC ran the Mobile Matanza project back in 2012. Mobile Matanza project was a program that allowed the mobile slaughter unit to go into the ranch and perform humane harvest on site. It then was bringing it back to our facility here, cut and wrap facility, and through the cut and wrap facility was processing up to 10 animals. I think that was one of our biggest bottlenecks, you know, the size of our cut and wrap facility. Program ran for 5 years successfully, ran to the ground for the last 2 years. We've learned from those failures, you know, and we've taken that really into heart and learning from it. The biggest success that the Matanza project and TCEDC has right now is Lucas Salazar being a part of running that program and moving it forward. Okay? TCEDC, myself, or any of the staff don't claim to be the experts in that area, but by no means. Okay, we are not, you know, the experts on the ground. But Lucas Salazar is. You know, he has managed his own facility. He has been a for-profit facility. Knows how to crunch them pennies. He knows how to run a tight ship, and that's what we need in a nonprofit world. And so with Lucas Salazar at our side, you know, we've been developing, you know, the project of the Matanza project program for probably a year and a half. The title that we've given this endeavor is the TCEDC Matanza, which is a community meat processor in Taos, New Mexico. You know, this process basically, you know, started with the development, the floor plan, and the business plan development for the meat processing facility in Taos. When we first took the endeavor, we were with the hopes, and we were really hoping that we were going to be able to modernize, upgrade, repair our current facilities, which sit here at TCEDC, but we weren't. We were fortunately, unfortunately, in the process of this great endeavor right at the tail end of COVID. And so the shortfalls, you know, for supply and demand, you know, were great. So we were not, you know, really having too much luck with sourcing most of what we needed. The current facility that we had was not in the best shape that we thought that it would have been. And so we had to make alternative decisions to end us where we are at. Where we are at right now is we basically have 2 units on the ground. You know, those were secured by funding through a New Mexico Food Security Grant that came directly from the governor's office to the state of New Mexico, that basically covered 2 units that are on the ground now, the stem walls that were used to put those 2 units in, and the development of the entire floor plan for the meat processing facility. Okay? And so that is what is out there now. What we've gone on and done is we've created the team that is with us now, which is comprised of 12 members. We've got 12 team members that have helped us with merchandising, we've helped business development, you know, we've really been able to work with a lot of community members that were able to bring in expertise to the table and were able to thrust us to where we're at now. You know, we are lucky enough to count on outreach people, people who are on the ground and really assessing the need on the ground for the meat processing facility. We are working with the local ranchers, making sure that their needs are being met. And everyone is invited to the table. These aren't closed-door meetings. These are publicly announced. We're trying to hold them monthly. It's probably been about 2 months that we haven't had anything. You know, but we are looking forward, you know, towards August listening session as well. I invite everyone to come to the table and let us know. We don't think we're doing everything right, by golly. You know, I mean, it is a lot of work, and it's taken us a long time to get to where we are at, okay? Again, everyone that's been part of the support, I thank you. Where we are at, again, is we are securing funding to phase our project out. Right now, we're thinking our project is, we thought 3-phased, we're realizing it's more 4-phased. And so basically, the units out on the ground and the funding that came through for those, along with funding for offices, storage, and a freezer unit that will be placed out by Landfill Road, are secured, okay? We are a 501c3. What does that mean? We're a nonprofit community development company. Nonprofit community development company in Taos, New Mexico, in the great state of New Mexico. New Mexico has what we call an anti-donation clause. Anti-donation clause means what? We as a nonprofit cannot directly receive funds from the state. Okay? So we have to have fiscal sponsorship for any funds that come into this nonprofit for community development. Okay? TCEDC always goes out, beats the bushes, and finds funds to bring to TCEDC. Okay? The county does not look for funds for us. The town does not look for funds for us. Okay? We have to use them as fiscal sponsorship. We, in essence, don't own a thing right now out of this meat processing facility. Okay? We were awarded funds, and we have a services contract with Taos County that says that we are the entity within our community that can run this facility. Okay? So services contract with the county. The county owns the 2 units. The development of the units, the stem walls that are on, you know, it's a for-profit, non-profit world, okay? The endeavors that get ahead, you know, is the for-profit and the non-profit partnerships, right? We love to be form part of those. The town and the county have served great in this whole endeavor. They've served their purpose. We've been there. We can count on them to, you know, serve as our fiscal sponsors. We can help them, you know, they can help us bring funds into this community, okay? But it's those for-profit and non-profit endeavors and those partnerships that we need. That's what takes us a long time sometimes. That's what stretches, you know, these endeavors out, you know, for a longer period of time. Are we working on it? Are we, you know, pushing things to the max? Absolutely, you know. Those that have been part of this whole process from the beginning have been through the ups and downs, what we've been through, what it's taken to get to where we are at right now. We right now are working through receiving a $600,000 capital outlay grant appropriation that came through the state that is going to be going through the town of Taos. Town of Taos will be putting on their agenda, you know, the accepting of these $600,000, and we will then continue with completion of phase 1 for this project. Okay, we're lucky enough to in the house right now have 2. The entire 12-person staff has been crucial in every part. One person I count on blindly is Miss Joella Mondragon. You know, she's my right hand. She allows me to do anything and everything that I have to do to be able to step away, and she's here to take care of things. So, you know, recognition to her. Recognition to the entire staff. Jessie Hook was brought in as a business development specialist. We called her special projects at the beginning, but what she's earned really is business development specialist. This young lady has just achieved her business degree, and wanted to go out and conquer the world, but she liked towels too much. So I told her when she first started with us, I said, you're not going to be able to leave us at the end. You're going to look back and say, I can't go anywhere. And she's kind of there now. So we've been working on a presentation, for months, We've had outreach down on the ground, really meeting with the ranchers, meeting with the restaurants, meeting with the grocery stores, and seeing what the need really is out there, and seeing what people need, and what it is that the meat processing facility is going to have to put on the ground, What do the ranchers have to offer, and who is waiting for those products? Jessie has been talking to a lot of the ranchers, has been talking to the restaurants and to the grocers to try and figure out, what the need is and what we need to deliver. We've created this little presentation that I'm going to let her present, and we're here for questions. Open door policy. You guys have any questions of us here? We're here. We can answer any questions. We're nonprofit. We're public workers here. We can answer any questions that you guys have. Are here to represent. So thank you for your time. We appreciate you guys being here. Your support means so much more than you guys will never know. So without further ado, I'll hand it over to Ms. Jessie, and thank you for your work.
This microphone makes me feel like a talk show host.
Where's the prizes?
Yeah. Outside. All right, well, thank you so much for being here. So I'm going to go over a little bit about what Mercedes already said in some aspects, and then present some new information potentially to some of y'all. I know some folks in the room are more intimate with the project than others, so happy to answer any questions after, and let's dive in. All right, so Mercedes already kind of went over the mission, the history, and the programs, but we'll gloss over that. And then we'll dive into the problem. What is the problem that the Matanza is actually trying to solve? Then we'll go into why we think that a meat processing facility will solve a lot of those issues that we've identified. And then talk about the impact. What is the impact locally? And potentially what is the impact on more of a global and a national scale? We'll end the presentation with giving you more of a visual of our progress. And then we also have projections about timelines, as well as an appendix with our financial projections and details in there. So, the mission of TCEDC is to support the food, land, water, and cultures of the people of northern New Mexico. They've been doing that for a long time and continue to do so. The programs we have currently, as Mercedes talked about, there's the Taos Kitchen, which is a really wonderful facility. Again, if you'd like to tour it, just let any of us in the stylist jean shirts know, and we're happy to walk you around. Joella particularly is quite the tour guide of the kitchen. We also help facilitate markets, and that has a lot to do with our partnership with De la Tierra a la Cosecha, as well as our other partners with the town and the county and other organizations. And we have two programs that are currently in the works that we're really excited about that feed into each other quite nicely. One is a mentorship program. We received a 3-year grant to start this mentorship program for beginning farmers and ranchers. So we're planning on pairing folks who are interested in knowing more about the economics and the on-the-ground dirty work of ranching with ranchers who have been doing it for a long time so that they can learn over the course of several months. Tyler Zander in the back has been doing a lot of wonderful work on that. And first year is dedicated to design, and then we'll dive into implementation in the fall and the spring. But last but not least is the Matanza, and we've already been over what that is. So we have to give a shout out to the community. Mercedes already mentioned a few of those folks, who you can see in the photos here. And then Lucas on the left, who is going to be the dedicated manager of the facility. He has a really wonderful company in Colorado, and we couldn't be more excited to have him on our team. So, let's talk about the problem. Here we like to talk about solutions, but you also have to dive into what is the nitty-gritty problem that we're even trying to solve with this Matanza facility. So, raise your hand if you remember COVID-19. Everybody, raise your hand if you remember the shelves of the grocery stores being empty. Yeah, it was pretty wild. That was a reflection of how a lot of our food systems have consolidated power in large companies. Consolidated power that is often far away from the communities that need the food most. So that's one issue, a big umbrella problem, but we believe small solutions can help address those big problems. You also have to talk about insufficient service availability. There are many ranchers in this room who are familiar with that. You have to plan a year in advance to get your cows on a USDA certified meat processing facility list. That's a big problem, and that's one that we want to solve. Both of these things end up resulting in a really fragile meat supply chain, an overall food system supply chain, and then outsourced meat processing and economic potential for this community. So we also really want to talk about the cost to ranchers, folks that we believe that this facility is going to be helping the most. When you have those consolidated meat supply chains, and you also have those outsourced meat processing facilities in Colorado and Texas or in the southern part of the state, it takes ranchers a lot of time and a lot of energy to get their cattle out there, which is a negative effect on their gas bill. Don't love having to pay for all that gas to get very heavy cows hundreds of miles away, which also affects animal welfare. Animals in transport are much more likely to be stressed and worried than they would be if they had to travel a shorter amount of time. Of course, we can't not talk about the business effects. You lose business with local processing revenue if you have to go to outsourced meat processing facilities, and local sales revenue. So all that meat and pretty packaging, all of that is likely, a lot of that is likely to stay outside of the community. And one of the important aspects connected to the mission of TCEDC is the loss of culture. Business isn't everything, but it does support culture. And if somebody is able to see that, okay, I'm at least to make some profit margin from spending all this time and energy and love on something like ranching, then they're a lot more likely to keep up with it, and the generations following are as well. So that's something we think is really important to address with this project. This is a little diagram of all the folks that we've identified who are USDA certified. And as you can see, a lot of folks are in Colorado or between 140 to 400 miles outside of Taos. Here's a photo of the facility as it currently is. And those are the two units that Mercedes mentioned earlier. And it's a pretty exciting project because it's reflecting 100 años de tradición, 100 years of tradition, and the potential of feeding the community, culture, and the economy of Taos. So, what are the benefits of this solution? Something seemingly simple, a meat processing facility. There are a lot of benefits that can be reflected. One is the benefits to the ranchers and the livestock. We believe that it will decrease travel by at least 400 miles for many of our ranchers, increase profit margins by 5 to 10%, herd expansion by 5 to 10% if we are able to demonstrate that there is a local economy for this and a local market for their meat. A lot of ranchers have reflected to me that they would be willing to expand their herds. And then we can't deny that there's also hopefully improved animal quality of life with decreased travel. Local markets are also projected to benefit with quality product to local restaurants, grocery stores, schools, hospitals, and consumers. Does anyone have had local meat versus like massively produced meat? Yeah. Yeah, does local meat taste a lot better? Yeah, it's undeniable. So we're excited about that. We also are really excited about the specialty jobs and markets that this meat processing facility is poised to open. So there will be multiple jobs, around 8 to 12 jobs in meat cutting and processing, which are very specialty jobs that are well paid but don't require higher education. So that reduces a lot of barriers to getting a really good, steady job for a lot of folks. We're also excited about opening some carcass maximization markets. I didn't know about that phrase until I started this project, but try and say that 5 times fast. This means markets that are addressing leather, bone, organs, or collagen, other things that might otherwise be sent to the landfill, become a market and become a profit stream. So we are also really excited with our partners to address soil health and watershed conservation with these projects. Mercedes spoke to a lot of different programs that we've had. This month has been a particularly busy month of different workshops, and we've had awesome attendance, and we hope to continue that. And last but not least, something that got me really excited about working with TCEDC back in February is the potential of benefiting the whole economy of the upper Rio Grande food system and of northern New Mexico. Has anyone heard of the multiplier effect? New concept? It's the idea that when you spend your money in one place locally, that those dollars are going to continue benefiting other local operations and have much more of an impact than if we were to spend our dollars with Jeff Bezos, for example. This simple act of buying meat that was grown and processed within the county is also investing in resilience. It's investing in generational cultures that we've heard about today around the circle earlier, and investing in traditions and food systems and their resiliency. So, what are the services? What are we actually going to offer with this business model? We have a few different things. So the mobile Matanza is the historic version of it, and you can see it in the back if you'd like. Mercedes brought it out for everyone to see. And the idea of that is that it can be a slaughter service that can go out to other people, primarily our Pueblo partners, who are, due to tradition, must slaughter their cattle on grounds. And then we'll also have the stationary Matanza, which is the photo that you saw earlier. Processing will be offered, and then for ranchers who do not want to operate sales, TCEDC is set to operate sales, delivery, and distribution. What products are eligible? We have beef, pork, bison, lamb, sheep, and goat. We have some pound limits that we're hoping to reach and working with ranchers currently on that. Yeah. So that refers to, and Lucas could speak a lot to this as well, but he's filling in on it. When you're processing an animal, there's a lot more potential for it being worth the rancher's time and worth the processor's time if it reaches a certain limit. So some cattle that are below 600 pounds or so might not generate as much profit or meat as one that's above 1,000 pounds. Does that help? Yeah. Thanks for asking a question. All right, so funny story about impact and numbers. That's actually how I joined the TCEDC team, as I came to one of the community listening sessions, and there was a lot of talk about all the ideas and a lot of misinformation that, of course, was circulating around the size of the facility and what was going to happen. And I raised my hand and I was like, have you thought about putting some numbers down? And just showing people, like, what are the impact of numbers? So here's some numbers. We're projecting to have 8 to 12 skilled jobs over the different phases, offering over 100 to 400 miles saved per ranch. A lot of ranches go to meat processing facilities on an annual or biannual basis. We're going to have a capacity for 25 to 50 cattle weekly, and something that's really exciting is generating over $800,000 in revenue from this facility alone, and those projections are only for the processing of beef. So.
Question? You say 25 to 50 cattle capacity weekly.
Yeah.
What about pigs, sheep, buffalo?
Yeah.
That just...
Yeah, thank you for that question. As cattle are a lot larger than sheep, there will be a little more capacity depending on how we're going to set up scheduling for sheep versus goat versus lamb, so keen eye.
And I understand that they're not going to exceed this. This plant is not supposed to grow to a great size.
Right.
It's supposed to be kept to a minimum decision, correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just addressing the market potential of the local economy.
Right now.
Yeah. As it is now, and it's not projected to grow exponentially just due to how land is owned in the county.
How can it not grow?
That's a great question. We could chat after.
Huh?
We can continue talking about that after.
Okay. And what I'd like to attach to that is, this plant is out of town. How many miles?
It is near the county ops building
Yes. How many miles?
and near the airport.
How many miles?
You know, I'm part of that generation that relies heavily on Google Maps. So
I'm gonna look that for
I could
you.
look that up for you.
We're doing it right now.
I'm just proposing a question.
Yeah.
More than
6.8.
needing an answer.
6.8 miles.
Okay. Now, my point is, as this plant grows, which it will, everything grows, as we know, eco-village is everything,
Yeah.
and why don't they move it farther away, like to Fiesta or something like that? Because we're talking about a place where you're going to have a lot of animals, a lot of manure, and other smells, for example. So why haven't they considered moving it farther away?
Yeah. Well,
That's my suggestion.
Yeah, thank you so much. We've already invested in the initial foundation for the facility as it stands, but we do love our Cuesta partners and love our Cuesta ranchers, and so if the market reaches that level, it would be wonderful to have a facility there too. But as things are looking now, we're not sure if growth is going to reach that way. But we can circle back if that sounds good. I just want to make sure everyone gets to the food before it's cold. Does that sound good?
My point being, I understand the land has already been purchased. And that seems to be written in stone. This is going to happen 6 miles out.
Written in cement.
Right. And so you're saying that they will have other smaller plants?
You know, we haven't talked about that just because this has already been such a big project to get it totally off the ground that we would love to start those visions of such a project, but we haven't reached that level yet. So we'll come back. Global context, because Taos is a small town, but a small town that has affected a lot of people all over the world throughout history. Has anyone heard of the UN SDGs, Sustainable Development Goals? There was this thing they brought up in business school. I was like, what's that? You have to put these on fancy squares and state that they're a problem? But yes, the UN, the United Nations, got together and listed like 20-something different things that they want everyone in the UN to focus on and have projects that support. And we think this little project in Taos, New Mexico is addressing multiple of those goals. One being that no poverty, we believe with cost savings to ranchers and job creation, it will address no poverty, which is number one. Zero hunger, strengthening the local food system. Good health and well-being, increasing access to healthy food, because local beef has been demonstrated to be a lot healthier than those that travel far away and are from feedlots, et cetera, et cetera. Decent work and economic growth, the local economic multiplier effect, which I mentioned earlier, and then reducing animal waste through our meat carcass maximization markets, our byproduct markets. Partnerships for the goals, we couldn't be here without our partners, and we are really excited to continue expanding our partnership base to make this happen. So the progress Mercedes already mentioned, but here's a handy-dandy visualization for it. This is a photo of when it was being placed at the written in cement items that I mentioned earlier. We have the property thanks to the town of Taos, which is 5 acres and a 50-year lease. There's an infrastructure, the initial infrastructure, so the hanging cooler, the cut and wrap, and then the mobile Matanza truck. And then we have the team with Lucas Salazar and the project coordinator and other folks on the team. And we have been doing a lot of outreach to partners. So as Mercedes mentioned, the grocers, the restaurants, the ranchers, the institutions that would also be buyers. We're really excited about phase 2 funding and welcome any support around that to invest in the further infrastructure that would get this facility running. So here's a little graphic on how we are doing in funding. We've received a lot of grants thanks to the hard work of the team so far. The food security grant, the FMPP, and the LMFPP. Folks love their acronyms. Love acronyms. The capital outlay that Mercedes mentioned earlier, and we're still raising funds for the 47.7% that would be needed to get this fully operational. Our path forward, it's crazy it's already August, no? June and July was heavily focused on reaching out to people, and if anyone knows any ranchers that I have not spoken to yet, please let me know. Find me during the fiestas, happy to talk with anyone. And we've refined the business model. We're really excited about that. And with fall of 2024, we are hoping, if another pandemic doesn't hit us, that we can finish the foundation, install the freezer, address the septic, and connect utilities to the land. In spring of 2025, we're hoping to onboard staff and have a soft opening, so limited capacity. Fingers crossed, everybody. Rain is a good thing, but we also need those crossed fingers. And then hopefully by fall of 2025, we'll have phase 3 completed and be able to fully operate. Is everyone's fingers crossed? So, have to say a huge thank you to everyone in this room and all of the supporters through this time. It's been a pleasure to work with Mercedes and Joella on this. I couldn't have imagined a better, impactful project to start off after getting my MBA. My name is Jessie Hook. Please come with any questions that you might have. And yeah, enjoy the local food fiesta.
Thank you, Jessie. And of course, you guys have any questions or anything, I will add a little piece. So we are, Mobile Matanza unit is out here. So if anyone is interested in, everybody was wondering, it's MIA, where is it? It's here. With a lot of the little commotion that was going there, we kept it hidden, but it's here. So you guys are welcome for that. If anybody wants a tour of the facility, absolutely, we are open to that as well. And then we will keep you guys updated. We will be sending you guys an email with the next listening sessions so that we can go ahead and get a little more in depth and any more questions that you guys might have. But thank you guys. Is there any questions that I can feel?
Yeah, real quick.
Here, let me give you. Well, I think
what are the chances of you guys doing HACT again? For USDA certified? Because we used to do business back in the day. We're just wondering,
correct.
are you guys be able to repeat the question?
So what we were processing in the past was farm-raised elk. So if you've got farm-raised elk, that is inspectable under USDA standards. So yeah, so basically that would be one of the species that would be part of the.
We're still eligible.
Correct. Now, if you worked with the Matanza the first time, they have to come out to your ranch and they have to expect, that there is, a fencing and that it is corralled in and that your parameters are secured to meet the standard for the ranch for farm-raised elk. But if those are met and the USDA approves your ranch, then we can process the elk, absolutely.
We'll talk more.
Okay.
One of the programs, I don't know if I dove into, but the slides mentioned, is we have a resource room. That was a recent project. It's a room with all the information you could ever hope and want, especially around business development and regenerative farming and ranching. And we're here to help support anybody who's looking to develop a business or apply for certain certifications, or just has random questions that they would like us to address around farming and ranching. So we have a computer there, speakers, as well as tons of books to check out. So that is also open for touring. If you'd like to tour that, please let me know.
The biggest goal with that was to make sure we had a space that our farmers and our ranchers can come in, apply for a farm number if you guys don't have a ranch number already, to be able to open up the opportunity for funding for you guys as well. So our staff and our outreach staff is available to be able to help you guys, source funding, see where there is funding available for you guys to apply for it, and meet the technological needs that any of our farming and ranching community might have. You know, and that is housed here. We are working by appointment only right now, so if you call us, we can go ahead and set up an appointment, get you guys what you need. If you guys become part of our mailing list and you guys get our newsletters, we do post funding opportunities regularly. So when there are funding opportunities, they get sent to you directly to your email, and they do become part of our newsletter. So, you know, always be looking out for that. Did you have a question, sir?
I'll skip it.
Okay.
I just had a comment about sustainability. I congratulate you on all the work you've done. It's just, it's right on. But you're talking about the sustainability and use of the animal byproducts like leather and carcasses and collagen. I was just wondering if you have plans for mortality composting of the byproducts that would normally go back to the landfill or to the rancher. I think it would be a waste of a useful product if we weren't able to return this waste in a useful manner to the environment.
Yeah.
Instead of just burying it at, I don't know what to do with it, but burying it at the ranch.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm not surprised you asked that question. You and Jennifer hang out. Yeah. No, thank you for that question. I appreciate it. So composting has been on all of our minds, and within the business development goals and plans, definitely on there. It has been on the back burner recently, just having to get all the other infrastructure and things in place. But it definitely is on the top of our minds, and we have a few partners lined up and are looking to partner with anybody else who has experience in offal composting, because we also believe in that. I mean, as little waste as possible. So thank you. Yes.
Hi. I started the year with 30 sheep on my 30 acres, and due to the nature of things, I got up to 60. And I've spent the last month trying to, pare down. I'm down to about 40 sheep now, and I've got to go farther down because that's too much for my land. So I'm a perfect customer for the mobile Matanza, and I noticed it said that we're pending under sheep processing. Yeah. So I'm interested in what are the prospects for local processing. Driving to El Rio or Lauderdale is a challenge.
So one piece we're forgetting to mention is, so our forecast originally was to be soft opening this fall, 2024. And so because we have fallen a little farther behind because of all the process, we are offering slaughter services through the use of Lucas's facility and Donald Martinez, who has committed, to helping the TCEDC Matanza project. So we have been meeting with the ranchers to try and figure out what the slaughter needs are right now. So if you guys do have anything, we do have slaughter slots available, okay? And they're being prioritized for the TCEDC Matanza process. So anyone who has that need already, we can go ahead and start assessing those needs and making sure that we get you guys on the list and get you guys processed. Matanza, the mobile Matanza is ready to go, and that's what we would be utilizing to bring to these facilities. We do have a staging area already in place as well, and so those services are available. So we don't have phase 1 done, and we don't have the facility out in Airport Road, but we do have the services, and we're going to stand by our ranchers to make sure that you guys get your needs met this fall.
And in terms of pounds, that was something that Lucas and I just haven't talked about, so that I'm not as familiar with the pound limits that are usually accepted with sheep and goat and such. But if you have any opinions on that regard, please let me know. Thanks for that. Who's hungry?
Well, to follow up.
Of course, follow-up questions are great.
Well, Lucas stopped processing sheep for some reason.
Okay.
And it's not clear to me, what's standing between him saying, yeah, we're gonna do sheep and we're not doing sheep. Again, if there's a question about profitability, like make that, like sheep is a lot less than a cow. So if profitability is the criteria, I can see there might never be sheep done.
So yes, Salazar Meats is a for-profit business, and so for-profit does not like, the smaller species. But we're a not-for-profit. So basically, profitability to us, absolutely. We are a business and we do run through a business plan. But we have to accept all species. And basically what our hope with the education components of all of our projects is to help people grow their herds. So what you are doing and the problems that you're running into is what we're hoping for. So we will help you, address those, absolutely. There's been a comment, oh, I want to be first, I want to be second. First come, first serve. The slaughter schedule will be open and you guys can register in and bring your animals in. There is a process, so there's a day for beef, there's a day for goats and sheep. So there is a process on how to handle the species that are being handled. One thing that we will not be doing is game, okay? So to begin with, we're not doing any game. So basically it is going to be entirely USDA processed. We do custom processing, but there will be no game. It's too difficult for us to go back and forth between a USDA process, a custom process, and then a game, that totally meets none of the regulations. So at this time and for the time being, maybe for the first year or so, while in operation, we will not be doing any game. Well, food is ready, so, walk, don't run, and thank you guys for coming here. We do have the rain simulator, so Tyler is right outside the door here, and we've got a rain simulator. This thing is awesome. You've got to see it in action. It shows you how soil health plays a vital part of this whole process for us. So go see Tyler.
Yeah, Tyler.